Stand by, Adam. Adam, we're live.
And we're live. The voice of God just us. Welcome back to a special edition of the Soscast. I believe this is episode number 18, but this might be the most special episode we've had yet. New digs, if you can't tell, new studio. We moved from Boca to Fort Lauderdale. We got an upgrade. You know how we talk, we say around here, all we talk is money, all we talk is money. Not today, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we are talking dating, relationships, lifestyle, Metaverse yachts, mental health, and of course, money. So welcome to the Soscast. I can't even say my name today. Thanks for the alcohol. Welcome to the Soscast. A special guest. Let's just start off right now and introduce who we have right here to my right. The lovely Jenny Valdes. Let's get a camera on her ASAP. Hello.
Hi, friends.
Hi, friends. So Jenny, entrepreneur, Latina living limitless, Pitbull dancer for many a years. What else did I leave out?
Motivational brand. Limitless legends.
Let's go. Anything else that we have?
You'll find out
today. Oh, we're going to find out.
If you don't know, you're going to find out today.
David, turn me up a little bit. And then to my left, let's get a camera on this darling angel friend of mine, Nancy Ann Tran. I like that.
Yeah.
Valuetainment's longest standing employee, almost 5 years now. Graphic designer to the stars. She's what makes Pat PBD look great. Part-time comedian and full-time functioning alcoholic. Did I sum that
Allegedly.
up? Allegedly. Everything on this podcast right now is allegedly. David, turn me up a little bit. Ladies, before we get into the topics, we got a couple topics we're going to talk about. Obviously, it's going to be money related, but we're going to talk about other things, dating, what kind of cars you want your guy to drive, how big we want our Marines' muscles to be. Shout out to Eric over here. Why don't you give us a quick summary of who you are, what you're expecting to share on this episode? Jenny, since this is your first time ever here at Valuetainment, you go first.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here with you and Nancy. So thank you for having me on board. I am a free spirit. Like I said, me in 3 words is literally Latina living limitless. That's who I am.
3 L's.
3 L's.
Okay.
The triple L. And my motivational brand is Limitless Legends. So I got L's all over the place.
A lot of L's.
And my
but
favorite
you're
thing
winning.
is love.
You're not taking L's. Okay.
Well, sometimes you got to take L's to take the W.
Ooh. What does that mean?
What does that mean? Sometimes you got to get losses to get wins.
Ooh.
You can't always be winning,
That's like sometimes you got to tighten up in order to get loose.
Eso mismo.
Oh my God! Can you believe it?
I know I was gonna start going in Spanish, and I said, "Wait,
hold up, our Spanish speakers over there."
Nancy.
Nancy, welcome to the show. What do you have to say for yourself before we get started?
I have no idea. I'm excited to be here.
You've got some idea, Nancy.
Some ideas after every topic. I don't know, just that side commentary for all your little weird money talks.
You've got great commentary. Don't judge her by her first IDK, not knowing what's going on. Nancy, if there was a TV character out there, that sums up who you are, like she's got a lot of L's, Latina, living, limitless, and love, and taking L's, what do you got? Who are you?
The older I get, the more I identify with D. D from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah.
And now that I started watching Seinfeld, I'm like definitely Elaine.
Okay. So you got the comedic instincts.
Sure.
Pick this up a little bit. Don't get too nasty with it, though.
She needs 2 more shots.
Exactly. Nancy's how many shots in? 4 shots allegedly.
Allegedly.
I've had 1. Jenny, don't need nothing. Jenny from the block right here.
She
anyway,
took the 2 I needed.
Ladies, I'm excited to have you. I know our audience was sick of seeing this stupid face every single day. And shout out to David. We love David. David will be back. He's behind the scenes. David, I don't know if you can hear me right now, but we love you when you miss you, and everyone misses your mustache.
I've ascended, Adam. I'm now in the control room.
There he is. He's in the metaverse over there. David, we miss you. We'll see you soon. But anyway, let's talk money. Can we do this?
Sure.
Let's get started. Okay. So here's our first story of the day. Basically, I saw this article. I was like, we gotta basically understand what's happening right now. So here's the deal. You would not believe how many young adults, and I'm not even going to say young adults at this point, because I consider myself the oldest millennial, 40 years old. Okay, so you're full on adults. A generation ago, you were hitting your middle age, basically your mid-age crisis. But basically, how many Gen Z and millennials are still relying on their parents' financial support. So check out these numbers. I know Eric's pulling this thing up right here. So this is a recent survey by Magnify Money, or credible source, reputable source. Here's some numbers for you. 67% of Gen Z, this is the highest around, basically are still relying on financial support from their parents. Now, I'll give a little caveat. A lot of them are still in college. People still rely on their, family from college. Gen Z is basically 16 to 24, so still high school, college, but then you got, after college. But then here's where things get interesting. 28% of millennials, so almost 1 out of 3 millennials, aged 26 to 40, say their parents still are giving them some form of financial support. So this past year, get this, Jenny, I want to get your thoughts on this. 52%, more than half of millennials, were still living in their parents' home. This is the highest number ever. It surpassed the previous record, which was freaking during World War II in 1940, when 48% of young adults lived with their parents. I'm going to throw a couple stats out there, and then we're going to weigh in on this topic real quick. Okay, so overall, 55% of Americans say their parents have helped them financially at some point during adulthood. So that's over 50%, 55%. That includes things like paying for college, understandable, but then you get into things like living at home rent-free, buying them a car, that's 16%, and then minor things like paying for their cell phone bill or even car insurance. The average amount that parents are giving their adult children is $4,200 a year. I almost choked up a little bit, Jenny. Take a breath. So on the flip side, 21% of Americans currently provide financial support for their parents. I'm in that category. I help my mama out. So this is me. So bottom line is, for a lot of you young adults out there, thank God for the bank of mom and dad. So here's where I'm going to open it up to the lovely ladies. And Jenny, I'm going to start with you. Be honest.
Yes.
When did your parents cut you off financially, or are your parents still helping you out at all right now?
So my parents did help me a lot financially growing up, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I was a professional dancer, so I was touring the world with different artists. I wasn't home a lot. Mm-hmm. So for me, I didn't find it reasonable to be renting an apartment that I'm not going to be in.
Okay, makes sense.
With that being said, my parents allowed me to live rent-free and save my dollars. My mom's an accountant, all right? That's why I'm really big with financing, because I believe that you need to save your money. Mm-hmm. Use it wisely, like still have your fun. I don't need everything sitting in the bank account. However, I was somebody that I never wanted to rent. I wanted to buy.
Okay.
So at the age of 25, I left and I bought myself a place.
In Miami?
In Miami.
Wow.
It was my biggest investment. So instead of
by the way, you hit it before everyone started moving to Miami.
Yes.
Well
right?
done.
Which was crazy, right? Because COVID just hit, and I was like, now I'm sitting at home and I'm not working. Oh my God.
Okay, so I don't want to put your stuff out there, but you're 25.
I'm 20. Oh,
26.
This happened at 25, yes.
And currently, are your parents helping you out at all right now?
My car.
They help you with your car.
My dad's a car
So when
dealer,
you read these stats, are you like a little offended, or you're like, nah, it's cool?
No, I mean,
like,
I think it depends on the situation. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Like you were on the road. It made no sense to have a full-time
right, and my
place.
dad's a car dealer. That's why I don't pay my car. So
okay.
It depends on the situation.
Gotcha.
Now, I do think parents need to find leeway and have their kids put in the work. Like some kids are sitting at home, like playing video games, eating chips. But if you see your kid putting in the work, some kids are visionaries, and they have this dream of being an entrepreneur and creating this stuff. And right now they're focused on that, and parents are supporting that. And I agree with parents supporting their kids' vision. Mm-hmm. However, I don't believe that they should be just without any responsibilities, living rent free. There has to be an age gap. 30 still living at home. That's a little bit.
I'm gonna actually get back to that. Nancy,
know?
do your parents still help you out financially?
No, my parents actually never really gave me money. But the thing is, I lived at home for up until I was 24.
Okay.
So as far as helping me out, it was just me not paying rent or paying anything.
Gotcha. So you paid no rent when you lived at home?
No.
How did you contribute to your family's well-being? Like, did you do chores? Did you assist in anything? Did you pay the utilities? What were you doing?
So it's weird because I lived with my brother and sister, actually.
Okay.
So
not your parents, you're saying?
No. Yeah, no. I moved in with my sister. She ended up buying a big house, and then her and my brother shared it. So I just lived there, and they would ask for rent, but I would never give it, and it was just that.
Who would ask for rent and you would never give it?
My sister, but it was out of spite.
What does that mean?
She was like, hey, give me money. I'm like, okay. And
then give me money. You're like,
that was how I was living with my sister for every month. It was just her asking money for me and my brother. She could definitely afford it.
Here's my question for you though. Okay, so it's situational. Everyone has reasons. Like you were traveling. I get it. You know, you were living with your sister. But here's my question for you: what is an acceptable age to basically get cut off from your parents? Meaning, like, okay, 24, you're traveling. Okay, 26, all right, but still at 30? Because millennials are in their late 30s now. What's an acceptable age or an appropriate age for your parents to say, you're done? We're not giving you another freaking penny. What do you think?
Whatever the dating age is.
What does that mean?
As in, like, if you're 21 and then you're trying to take someone out, like, it is a little off-putting if they're still living at home, right? Like, for me, like, I wouldn't date anybody that was still living at home while I'm living alone.
So some dude takes you out. He's like, listen, we're going to go out to have a nice dinner. We're going to have a good time. And then we're going to go back to my parents' place and get it on. You're not into that.
No, not really.
Jenny, has a guy ever tried to take you back to his parents' place since, you know, you've been 21 plus?
Since 21 plus, no, but I've dated men who are successful.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying who are not.
Oh, gotcha.
Like,
You're saying you're
home.
like, no, I don't date broke dudes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
And okay, so we're gonna flip it. Would you rather, if you could, date, like you said, you don't date broke dudes, okay? Would you rather date a rich, unattractive dude or a hot, broke dude?
Neither.
Well, no, Jenny, those are the options here.
No, I mean, which one's making me happy?
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, it depends.
Okay, here, let me give you some details.
Okay, give me some details. You gotta give me some context.
Here we go. Here, let's make it rain. Rich dude.
Okay.
Takes you out wherever you want to go. You're traveling the world. He's getting you a car. You're living rent free. Clearly, you're like jewelry, handbags, living the life, treating you well. But he's kind of busted. He's sloppy. He don't look so good. He's lost his hair. Like, he's just not an attractive looking dude. But he is making your life just amazing. He's whirlwind relationship. He's just not so good looking. However, hot dude. Like, who's your celebrity crush?
Oh, I love Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. Boom. Magic Mike. He's doing the abs. He's got the thing going on. Hey, all right. He's doing his thing. He's hot. He's sexy. He's doing his things. He's got his moves, his grooves. But dude still lives at home with his parents. He's broke. He can't hold down a job. Maybe he's got a little drug problem. I don't know. Who would you rather be with?
You still didn't answer my question.
What do you? I just
Who's
told.
making me happy?
You tell me.
Just because he's buying me gifts doesn't mean I'm happy. I could be miserable
Okay.
in that situation.
Gotcha. So
money doesn't buy happiness.
If the hot broke dude was making you happy, you'd pick him rather than the rich?
Yes.
Okay.
But
So happiness is the center of gravity.
Yes, happiness and
Okay.
values, right? Like
Okay.
maybe
Let's assume they're both making you happy. You're happy with both of them. But one you're super attracted to, and one you're super attracted to the lifestyle. What's your pick now, Jenny? You can't say who's making you happy.
Because I want to be attracted to the personality. Like you're
Okay.
making it about a lifestyle, but it's about the personality.
Let's say they're both making you happy.
Well, obviously, if they're both making me happy equally, I'm going to choose the person who's more financially stable.
Okay.
Because it's going to give me success. in the
Sorry,
long run.
Channing Tatum. Okay. All right. Nancy, let's throw things your way. Okay.
Nancy, go with the money.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you,
broke
David.
guys.
No broke guys.
No broke guys.
So you'd rather date the sloppy rich guy.
Is he funny?
Let's say it's Danny DeVito.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Okay, so I guess essentially what I'm asking is money more important or looks more important for a guy? Because I'll tell you, I'm going to give you a flip side. If you said, hey, Adam, I got a question for you, bro, flip it on me. Would you rather date a wealthy, billionaire type of woman who's taking care of you? You don't have to work. You're living a great life, but she's old, fat, and sloppy. Or young, hot, gorgeous, fitness model, whatever, dancer, this, that, but she's broke. You have to support her. I'd say, dude, just give me the hot girl. I'll figure out the rest. Like, it wouldn't even be a question. But so do you understand like the differentiation that we're making right here now, ladies? Is that guys are obviously more visual. We're like, who's making me happy? I don't know, make myself freaking happy. And then just give me the hot girl. Rather than like, I don't know, I don't need some old, rich lady taking care of me. Do you see what we just did there?
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with a guy thinking like that?
No, men are visual creatures.
Okay. Nancy, is there something wrong with me thinking like that?
Well, because you're already financially stable, too.
That's true. Save that money.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is, like, if you're broke and desperate, like, would you fuck Betty White?
You fuck my mom? You fuck my mom? No, rest in peace, Betty White. You're going to bring up a dead lady, bro?
I can't think of another old lady.
There's no old ladies that you know of? Barbara Bush. Oh, she died too. I get your point.
Just do a poll of the hottest
Okay.
old ladies down there.
Hottest old ladies. All right. You said what we're doing right there. All right. So here's my next question for you. So if your grown ass boyfriend, he's making you happy, but he was still getting financial assistance from his parents, would that turn you off?
Yes.
Okay, that would turn you off. You'd say like, dude, get it together. Like you're a successful woman, Latina, living limitless. You're paying your own rent. It's not even your own mortgage.
My own mortgage.
But dude, let's say he's your age, mid to late 20s.
Get
but
it together, Papa.
Get it together. It'd be a turn off.
Yeah.
Okay, Nancy, turn off if dude still like you pay your own rent. You live with your dog, Mr. Meatball. Follow Mr. Meatball on Instagram. What's his name?
Sir Poot Poot.
Sir Poot. But like if you're doing your own thing, like you came up, you left Dallas, you picked up your stuff, I think you broke up with your boyfriend. I don't want to put your business out there. You came
I
solo
did.
status. Yeah, I did. I cut that mother.
Very confidently.
Yeah. Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it goes back into like, does money bother you and a spouse? And like, I just wouldn't want a guy that was more broke than me. And then that puts all the pressure on you, and then that's where the fights and resentments comes out of like, who's paying more? Like, and I hate the idea of like just taking care of somebody.
It's a major turn off for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that. Actually, I just want to add one thing.
Yeah, go. This is your show.
My thing is, I think that there are some men who are not financially stable. They didn't come from money, and they don't know how to maybe generate it. But I do think some of those men can be ambitious and hungry and want to learn. So I think sometimes maybe successful women can get those men if they're willing to have ambitious and push forward and teach them the ropes. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
You hit a word that we'll touch on. I hear ladies say all the time, okay, I don't care if they're broke, but do they have ambition? Ambition is a turn on, like meaning like, yeah, I'm broke right now, but I'm telling you, baby, if I stick with this thing, I'm gonna figure this out. I got this.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay, so you might be broke today, but you're not gonna like that ambition,
We go figure
that
it
drive.
out. Like we could build together.
We're gonna build this house together, y'all.
You know?
Oh, I feel like I'm in church right now. Nancy, is ambition a turn on?
Yeah, for sure. But the only thing is like, if he has a plan, and then are you part of his plan to help like financially stable him while he's figuring out his shit?
Oh, good caveat. It's like, well, baby, we're going to build this thing together. I got ambition, but in the meantime, can you make my car payment for me, please?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not hot, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
Well, here's my question. Next question. At what age, is there an age that it's like, look, 21, I still live with my parents. Cool, they're still like 21. All right, 25 maybe, but like 30? 35?
No.
Like at what point? Because we're talking about millennials still living at home with their parents.
I would say-
What age is like, dude, I don't care what your ambition is. What's the number?
I would say a year post college.
Oh, just one. You're giving dude 1 year.
A year post college.
Okay, so you
I
graduated.
feel like you graduate college.
Okay,
What, 22, 23?
sure.
Maybe, no, like
Yeah,
23,
yeah,
24.
Yeah, right. 23, 22.
23,
Yeah.
You get a year on your own, right? Figure it out. Some people go
Yeah.
to college, they move back home, they're trying to figure out a job. It gives them a year to get themselves situated.
Okay.
And then that following year, like, you need to have a plan.
Okay.
Rather now, like I said, unless you're living with your parents to save up
Yeah.
for a bigger purpose, then yeah, but you need to figure out a means of income.
Okay, so Jenny's giving the homeboys 1 year. You got 1 year from the day you graduate college to get your shit together, and then she's breaking up with you. Done.
Jenny said, I don't care about COVID, bro. Get your shit together.
The voice of God, David, thank you. Nancy, what is an appropriate age for a dude to still, to move out of their parents' house, to get out of there? 21. She gave him basically till 23, 24. Like you got 1 year after
I
college.
would say 24, 25.
Okay, so Jenny's even given another year. She's 25. What about you?
I mean, 24, 25, just I feel like that's around the time people at least try to do something different. Because especially if you're dating somebody and they are trying to figure things out, there has to be like milestones they're hitting. Like they have to be actively looking, they have to be actively trying something. Otherwise, they're just like a basement baby.
Yes, Nancy.
Gotcha.
Basement baby.
So basically 23,
No puedo.
24, even 25. If they're still living with their parents, okay. 30, cut that sucker.
No.
Okay,
Eso
gotcha.
ya- eso
There's a
ya-
lesson out there.
No,
what,
no,
what,
no.
what, you doing some Latina stuff? What I gotta get
Yeah,
into?
my bad.
When she gets mad,
My bad. We're gonna have to put some subtitles. We're gonna have to put some subtitles.
Okay. Anyway, here's my two thoughts, my 2 cents on basically what's going on. High school, after college, cool. Here's my thought. So I literally, my parents like kicked me out of the house, like 17, like get a life. You're out of here. Boom. I haven't lived with my parents since, like, although I did crash at my mom's house this week, just, to spend some time with my mom. But in general, I've been supporting my since I was 18. Okay. But if you are living at home and you're a freaking grown up, let's say 22 plus, you should still have to contribute. What does that mean? I'm not talking, I'll take the garbage out, Mom. You're either paying the utilities, you pay with rent, you afford your own car payment, and it's not because the $400 is that big of a deal, but you need to set boundaries and you need to learn lessons. Because let me tell you something, life only gets more expensive year after year after year after year. So if you're still 30 and relying on your parents, like I met some dude, he was working at Publix the other day, and he saw me wearing the Valuetainment I Am an Entrepreneur shirt, and he came up to me and he's like, hey man, I like your shirt. Tell me about entrepreneurship. I don't know. I'm like, how old are you? You're 30 and you work at Publix? He's like, yeah, but I'm like, where do you live? I live with your parents. And he's like, I don't know. I kind of want to be an entrepreneur. I was like, buddy, you got a lot of things to figure out here, homie. Okay. And the point is this, is that I'm sure that person, his parents are not charging him any rent. And it's just very comfortable for him to just live year after year after year, paying rent. I doubt he's bringing any chicks back to his parents' place. Next thing you know, he's freaking 30, working at Publix, wondering why he can't get his shit together. There's something called tough love. And I don't have kids or anything like that. But you better believe if I had a 25-year-old still living at the house with me, buddy, you either got to pay rent, you got to there's going to be some boundaries right there.
Definitely.
Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're very right. And there's something I do want to explain. If you're home living with your parents at that age, don't think you have to rent or buy something super lavishing to move out. Like, we live in a generation now where everybody's like, if I don't have the most modern thing, if my house isn't trending, I don't want it. Like, you can move out and live. It doesn't have to be so luxurious.
Get a roommate, get two roommates.
Exactly.
I lived when I was 25, 26 with 4 roommates. We had a ridiculous house. It was like a real world type house. We all threw in, I think, $500. This is at the time. But we're all just figuring it out together, a bunch of dudes. And now they're all married, whatever. But you got to start somewhere. Because if you eventually got to grow up. If you just stay with your parents and you're just still continuing to do it, it's not a good look. So at some point you got to grow up. Nancy, before we move on, do you have anything to add to this topic? Any zingers, any losers out there you want to call out? They're still living with their parents. Now's your time.
No.
Okay. I would love if you were
Nancy,
like,
quick, no.
I would love if you were like, hey, Bill McGee in Dallas, Texas, you piece of shit that I paid your. I would love if you called somebody out right now.
Maybe next time.
Nancy, you take another shot. Okay, so that's our topic right now. Let's move on. Okay. Here's a topic right now. It's not so much an evergreen topic like the living with your parents. This is a topic that is all up in the news right now, and it's about Drake. Now, have you heard about what's happening with Drake and this hot sauce condom situation? Are you familiar with this?
Yes.
Have you read up on this? Nancy, have you read about the hot sauce condom?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so for those of you that are not aware, our friend Eric is pulling up the story. So apparently the story goes like this. I'll try to summarize this, and then we'll get into the conversation. So Drake and this Instagram model, right, which is like, I'm using air quotes galore, Instagram model. So they're DMing like people do. They're DMing, and they decide to link up. So I think they go out to a club. They're doing their thing, and then he's obviously like, all right, let's go back to the hotel room because after the party's the after party, and after the party's the hotel lobby. Boom. So they go back. They smoke a little something. They roll something up and they agree to have sex. I'm putting the agreement in there because it was consensual. There's not any charges towards Drake in that fashion. It was consensual sexual intercourse. You remember when that used to happen, consensual stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Allegedly.
So allegedly, yeah, we're gonna use, that's your thing. By the way, allegedly is never a good word to have. It's never like allegedly he donates his time.
It says it right there on the article,
but it's never like allegedly he donates his time to the homeless. Allegedly, it's always like allegedly motherfucker put hot sauce in a condom, right? So they have sex. He uses a condom. He practices safe sex, literally, and then he goes to the bathroom to dispose of it. Dispose of the condom. He throws it in the trash bin, right? So, and here is where things get a little juicy. All right. So according to the report, allegedly, the girl then goes to the bathroom. She grabs the used condom out of the trash, and she tries to basically stick it up, her situation, and tries to literally impregnate herself with Drake's sperm in the condom that was in The trash can. Okay, cool. But surprise, surprise, ladies. Like it's freaking Taco Tuesday over here. Drake allegedly pours hot sauce, like freaking Cholula King over here, poured hot sauce into the condom to kill the sperm. I've never heard of this move before in my life. So he does that. Naturally, the girl freaks out. She basically says that it was like pouring hot lava in her vagina. And basically now, her burning situation now is basically calling Drake out, and she is threatening to sue Drake. So that is the context of the story. I don't know. This is probably the craziest story I've maybe ever heard. Okay. So first question, what the fuck? Have you ever heard a story like this? Either one of you guys? Anything
Quite
like
entertaining.
This? It's very entertaining. This is the tainment of Valuetainment right here. So is there any circumstance in your life, any dude out there that you would resort to putting your hand in a trash can and trying to insert a used condom so you get knocked up by a multi-millionaire? Is there anything, does this even comprehend as a lady?
No.
Okay, one word answer.
No.
Nancy, the first time you did something like that, what happened?
It was actually last night, she said.
Yeah, it didn't work.
No, I couldn't see myself doing that. I think I have too much anxiety to go through with it. It's like I'll be fumbling all that stuff.
She said,
All right, I'm like, ah! It's on my hands. Okay. All right. So you're obviously not going to self-incriminate, clearly, classy ladies. We wouldn't have them on. However, do you have any girlfriends that you think would do something like this? Jenny, I know you're from Miami.
I'm from Miami. I was just going to say that. Oh, don't put South Miami in a bad
Hey.
Don't empieza con eso. Don't start with that.
You're going to go crazy.
Yeah, we're going to get
Do there
real
any
quick.
girls in general from your time on the road, dancing, having fun, that you could see, I think fucking Leslie would do something like that? Is there anyone that would do something?
Listen, I've seen quite a few interesting things. So yes, I have
You do
come
know
across
some ladies that
women
would-
who would potentially do that.
Like, I'm not going to ask you to name names, but you're thinking of a few right now.
I mean,
Okay.
Miami is kind of
Yes. So they would
big
sleep with
city
a
on that.
celebrity. They would think, all right, let me go investigate that trash can right
Okay,
there.
but there's
Okay.
just so many problems with the story. Number one, I don't know if it's real or not, but let's claim it is real.
Yeah.
And we
Allegedly.
want some entertainment, allegedly.
Clearly.
Right? Number one, scientifically, from my understanding, what I've been taught,
Okay.
is when the sperm hits oxygen, it dies. So the
Okay.
sperm cannot live outside of my vagina.
Okay.
Okay.
Trust the science, as
Trust
they
the
say.
science. So therefore, I don't know why he didn't flush the condom down the toilet.
Dude, this is your hot sauce, trash
Okay.
can, you're busting up burrito. Like,
Yes.
dude, just throw it in the garbage.
Third, I don't
toilet.
think, because I'm not going to lie, when the story came out, my first thing I Googled was, can hot sauce kill sperm? That was my first thing. And
That's on
everything
your
was,
search history
yes,
right now.
everything was Drake. I said, wow, this is a great marketing tactic.
Yes.
However,
Okay. Does he have an album coming out? No, he already had
which
one.
is what I said. I said his PR guy needs to come out and be like, all right, we need to come out with a record
Breaking
all
news,
about this.
Drake just signed a sponsorship with Cholula Hot Sauce.
Listen,
best
you
hot
talk
sauce
about
ever. I love
money.
it.
You talk about money. That's how you
Yes.
flip the story. And that's how you generate
Boom.
many dollars from an unfortunate situation like this.
Okay.
But I don't think that he put hot sauce to kill the sperm. I think he put it to see who he's messing
If
with.
this chick is,
Exactly.
Dude, it's an Instagram model, OnlyFans type
Which
chick.
I don't know why people at that level are still playing games like that. Like, be with loyal women that at least,
I don't think
someone
he's
trusts.
looking to spend his life with this
No,
girl. I think he was
I'm
just
not saying-
spending the night.
I know, but I'm saying, like, have your fun, but be with women who respect and understand your lifestyle versus just trying to, like some guys, they think with the wrong head and just
Some
get caught
guys,
up in
yeah.
the wrong situations.
Nancy.
Well, I mean, that's obviously his test then, because I imagine if he's like fucking a million hot girls, then eventually he's gonna want to recycle one of them. So they have to like go through the test of.
You got to go through the hot sauce test. I like
Exactly.
this.
That's
Okay,
That's
yes.
exactly what he did.
Okay, so he's like, which one of these girls is going to start screaming, ranting, and raving in the bathroom? You have failed this test. You have
He
failed.
crosses her name off the
Cross
list.
it. Yeah. Sherry. Done.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have anybody that comes to mind that you would even, she's thinking of a few names. Is there anybody in your life that you think, yeah, that bitch would do something like this? Anyone you know?
Probably not.
Okay. You roll with a classy crew. You're from Dallas. Originally
Yeah,
from
Dallas,
Missouri.
you're a humble crowd.
We're basically calling out Miami right now.
Okay,
I'm from
hold
Miami,
on.
okay?
Now I'm getting getting offended. Let me tell you, now I'm getting
Ladies,
offended. I'm put my boxing gloves on.
Yeah.
No, never mind. There's probably a lot. I just can't think of it.
Listen,
Oh, you just can't think of the names.
I
but
just
you
feel
do
like
know.
a lot of
Okay.
Miami girls have a bad rep. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
All right, and I take low-key offense to that
Some of
because
that
I
is
am a Miami.
deserved, though.
Understood.
Yes.
But not. I just want to make a statement that not all Miami girls are like this.
Clearly not. You're absolutely right.
Just
You're
want
absolutely
to
right.
clear the air there.
Just
you know?
90%. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
Ay, mi
kidding.
madre.
Ay, my God. I'm just kidding. I'm from Miami. I know classy girls, but also, you know, it is a party culture.
Yes.
You know, it is. And it's like, but
Valid.
by the way, this didn't happen in Miami. I think this happened in Toronto, I want to say. I could be wrong, but it didn't happen in Miami. So
Where's the girl from? Nobody knows.
I don't know, but we can find out who she is on Instagram. Eric, why don't you do some reconnaissance work? What's going on right there? Okay. So is there any amount of money or there she is.
Oh, but people know. Oh,
You know her?
no, I just didn't know that people like knew who she was. Like I thought her name was.
She's
like,
verified. Her
right.
name is Melissa Ford. Is that her?
I like how it starts off as like unknown IG model, and then they
That's
put
what
her
I'm
picture
saying.
down, like, right
That's
after.
why I didn't know she was up.
Eric, scroll up just a little bit. Okay, P.S. If Drake doesn't seize this moment to launch or license his own branded hot sauce,
There we
Jenny,
go.
then
A
Canadians
record.
are
He needs a
even
number one hit
dumber
record.
than I thought. Boom, Jenny hit the nail on the head. So this happened in Canada. I'll even give you a name for a 20% revenue share. The Drizzy Sizzy. That's okay. PPS, last I heard was Drake was slamming video vixen Hall of Famer Melissa Ford, not saying it was her by any means, just wanted to post some pics. So they're not even saying that's her. So allegedly, we don't know who the name is. Okay,
Oh, they have
so
a list of women. I'm
the
done.
list of
Oh.
women that it could be.
Oh,
All
that
right.
sucks.
So, okay, let's play a game. Feel free to say hell no. But for any amount of money, or for any dude, dream dude, Channing Tatum, Danny DeVito, whoever your dream dude is there any amount of money or any person you would actually consider doing something like this?
No, too many morals for that.
Too many morals. So if I'm like, listen, Jenny, $10 billion, all you got to do, so there's no amount of money.
No.
You
Let me tell you
cannot be
this.
bought.
No, and I'm going to tell
Okay.
you this one story. I was
Yeah.
on a beautiful boat that was like a mini cruise ship, to be honest. There was a boat on the boat, so you know how big the boat is at this
There's
point.
a boat on the boat.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you know how big the boat is. Talking to a billionaire.
Yep.
And I said, can I ask you a question? I'm a question girl. I asked many, many questions. He said, yes, of course. I said, are you happy? And he looked me in the eyes and he's like, I'm trying to be.
Trying to be. Okay.
This billionaire who never has to work a day in his life if he doesn't want to. To me, I just, there's too many morals, there's too many values, and a lot of that has been lost in today's society. And I pride myself in having that. And if I go, I'm not going to take my money with me, but I'm going to take my integrity with me.
This is what we call around here having values and principles.
Yes.
And you got them, girl. Respect to you. Point Jenny. So Nancy, when you get that $10 billion,
I think I would just fuck it up so fast.
what's the amount? Is there an amount? Is there a number out there that you're like, fuck it, cut me the check. I'm with you. Is there anything, this is a hypothetical. You're not reaching in the trash cans, but is there anything or any amount of money or any person you're like, fuck it, I'm in?
No,
Anything?
I don't think I can do it. I feel like I would just. I wouldn't want the mental commitment to like anything that's not mine.
Okay. Respect to you. That's the values and principles of being in a great organization like Valuetainment. Let me give you guys a little perspective. For $10 billion, Drake, I will go in that trash can. I will throw hot sauce on any single body part. Drake and his whole squad can run a tag team. I'm just saying.
I bet. He said for 7 minutes. I get it. Go in.
I'm just saying. As much as I respect you girls, there is an amount of money that's life changing. But so for instance. Okay, no, some dead air right there. Okay, clearly I can't get pregnant for those of you guys, whatever. But did you know that Drake, I'm not saying that's a hot sauce situation, but you know that he impregnated a woman and she has his kid.
Yes.
His son, I believe, is named Adonis. Doesn't even look like him, by the way. He's like a blonde looking kid. She's a multimillionaire now because he's making child support payments. He's taking care of the kid. Just putting that out there. I mean, there's no amount of money. There's no amount of money. I get it. I'm just saying, like, her life changed forever just by having Drake's kid. That's on the premise.
Everybody's talking about the parents, but what about the kid? Did the kid even ask to be born? No. How are they parenting him? Like, kids that are brought up in broken homes end up broken, and broken people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. You get me?
Hurt people. Wow. I feel like I'm in a
Yes.
therapy session right now.
You are.
Welcome.
I
Hey-o.
listen.
Latina Living Limitless dropping dimes over here.
Always. Make sure you pick them up. Make sure you
Okay.
pick them up.
Ding,
Dropping
ding, ding.
jewels.
Okay. Nancy, before we move on, any things that come to mind with this Drake situation? Is Drake at fault here? Is Drake the bad guy? Does this story
No, I
make
don't think he's a
Drake
bad guy.
is not the bad guy?
No.
Is she the bad guy?
I'm sure she sold that story to TMZ and got a good chunk of change for that story.
Oh, so does
'Cause
this
look,
make
we're sitting
you-
here talking
Yeah,
about it.
wouldn't
Okay.
she be the one who released the story?
I don't know. Exactly. That's a good point. Nancy,
Because
our
she
marketing
was suing,
executive over here.
suing for damages, right? Because she got like
Right.
hot sauce up her hoo-ha. Like,
Exactly.
like, why would you tell anybody that story
Right.
out of?
That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
It's
That's
not
what
like
if it
you're
did happen,
basically
why
saying
would you
it's
go
not-
and say that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's not
You
Drake
have
putting
zero
this out
integrity.
there.
You have zero integrity.
Okay. Does
Zero
this
integrity.
does this story make you like Drake more or less, or it's not? It's a non-factor.
If
Is
it's
he
real,
more,
if
less?
it's real, it makes
Yeah.
me think that he's a smart man.
Oh, so you like him more a little bit? The hot sauce.
I need
How
his
about
hot
you?
sauce.
I
We're
mean, if
gonna
it's
come out.
real, I think it's a funny story. Like, I don't think he's at fault. Like,
Okay, so Drake's not the bad guy. Anyway, guys, coming in 2022, we got the Drizzy Sizzy hot sauce sponsored by Cholula, and you can get that at all Valuetainment superstores across the country. All right, Drake, he was the artist of the decade, and now something tells me he's going to be the businessman of the decade with this hot sauce. So respect to you, Drake, and I actually think that the girl, she's trying to catfish Drake, you know, whatever catfishing is in this capacity, and she got caught. She got punked. She got hot sauce. That's like a new move. We're gonna see. I feel like guys
got
are gonna
hot
use
sauce.
this move.
I'm sure a lot of guys are gonna
Yeah.
do this now.
You got
so
sauce.
girls, be careful.
You got sauce. Drake,
try
you're
anything.
welcome to the Soscast to bring your hot sauce anytime you'd like. All right, let's move on to the next topic. If you guys are comfortable moving on from Drake. We're going to talk about cars. I got strong opinions on cars. I'm not sure if you guys got strong opinions on cars, but we're going to talk about cars. And car prices are absolutely insane right now. This is for new cars and used cars. They keep
Yes.
climbing and climbing and climbing, and don't expect relief anytime soon. This is a CNBC story. Now, you guys don't need to take an economics class to be familiar with the concept of supply and demand. We got supply and we got demand. Okay, supply and demand. So there's a low supply of cars and there's a very high demand for cars, new and used. Okay, so apparently, regarding demand, there's a low supply demand. There's about 4 to 5 million customers, potential customers, consumers sitting on the sidelines waiting for cars or waiting for cars' prices to drop. Okay, so reasons for this, not to get all economics right now. Basically, there's a supply chain crisis. The ports have been shut down. The world's been shut down for the past 2 years, so people aren't working. There's a lack of workers, right? There's a labor shortage, and then there's something called microchips or semiconductors that they need to put in the cars, and they put into the cell phones. They put everything. So there's a limit on that. So basically, supply and demand. There is, high demand. People want cars. People need to move, and there's low supply. Boom. That's your economics lesson right there. Let's get into the numbers. 90% of car buyers are paying more than the sticker price. So here's an example. So for new cars, the average transaction price is higher than the MSRP, the manufacturer suggested retail price. I almost butchered that one. MSRP. So typically, what does that mean? So if the MSRP is 45 grand, people are paying 46 grand, 47 grand. Because usually you go on the lot and you're like, this is 45. All right, maybe you can knock something off. Okay, you can get it for 42. Boom. But now people are paying more, a little bit more for new cars. Now, when you get into used cars, thank you for this thing right here, Eric. So for used cars, buyers are paying an average of $29,000 for a used car. Now that is up 28% from a year ago. So for the average used car a year ago, just doing some basic math, if it went up 28%, that means it was on average about 20 grand. So now you go for a used car, it's $19.99. Now they're going to hit you for $29.99. Boom, it's a 28% increase. So a couple more stats for you. A year ago, before the pandemic, right, or at the beginning of the pandemic, it took about 50 days to sell a new car from the lot. Okay, you with me, Nance?
Yeah.
50 days. Now, the average time is between 10 and 17 days. That is a record low. So basically, here's where we go here. We got supply, we got demand. Demand is high. People need cars. There's not enough cars. People are paying more for cars. Cars. And by the way, cars are depreciating assets. You don't want to have to overpay for cars because once you drive it off the lot, it loses about 20% of value. And then every year it loses about 10%. So the point is this. You may not get the car that you want. And if you are, you're going to have to overpay for it. So ladies, let's open this up for you. How important is for you to drive a nice car? How important is that for you? Jenny from the block.
I drive the same car I've had since high school.
Oh, you said that so like adorably right there. What was that?
I love my car so much.
What kind of car is it?
I have a Mini Cooper.
White Mini Cooper.
white
I saw
Mini
you
Cooper.
circle in the parking lot
I
over
love
there.
my
Okay.
car.
You love your car. But that's a good female car, a Mini
Yeah.
Cooper.
I
Now,
love
if a
my
dude was driving a Mini Cooper, does that
I mean,
not
a
a
dude
good
driving
look?
a Mini Cooper, I don't know about all that.
So that is a female car, just putting it out there. So for dudes out there driving a Mini Cooper, step it up, bro.
A little bit.
Yeah. Nancy, how is it important for you to drive a nice car? Like for you?
So I would have drove my car, like I would have just lasted for one car, but I literally drove my high school car into the ground. Like I even got to the point where the door handle on the driver's side broke off and I would go through the passenger side for like 6 months.
All right, guys, I got to drive.
Because I didn't want to commit to buying a new car. And then eventually
You're
when...
very thrifty, though.
Yeah, I am.
You're very thrifty. You're cutting coupons. You're wheeling. You're dealing. You're stealing. You're doing what you got to do. I've seen you. You operate. You're an operator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just happened.
Well, so
Okay.
then when my car finally did broke down, I ended up buying like a Honda Civic, like the most reliable car ever.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it during like Memorial Day sale or something.
Sale,
Yeah,
Memorial Day.
it had to be
yeah.
a sale.
And you had to be a sale. I'm telling you, she's thrifty.
And that's literally what I've been driving for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And as soon as that's like paid off, I'm riding that to the ground too.
Okay, we have the David walking into the studio. How important is so for you? It's you're driving the same car since high school. You're driving your car into a ground. So for you, having a car a nice car isn't that important. Are you more of an A to B type of girl? Like I got to get around. I'm not going to drive a piece of shit.
As long as it gets me to point A to point B.
Okay.
Straight. I'm not going
You're
to
good
drive
with
like but.
Okay. Now, flip side, that's for you. How important it is for your man to drive a nice car? For your man to drive a nice car. How important is that?
It is. I mean, I hope it's not like a
rape ban?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, kids, come on into the
But for
Okay.
me, it's the memories we make in them.
Oh my God, this girl's just
Sorry,
memories
guys.
making the car.
Very deep. I don't know what I wanted to tell you.
Making some memories. Oh my God. Okay,
is.
so it's not that, but there's a limit to the car. though.
Right, of course.
What's
I mean,
the limit? This is what
don't
I'm trying to
know.
get. Like he doesn't have to drive a Mercedes, but you
but
were
like,
pretty clear.
I love like
that
Toyota Camrys.
if your dude rode up in a Toyota Camry, you'd be okay with that?
Oh, I'd be chilling.
How about a Toyota Corolla?
Cool.
Toyota Corolla?
Yeah.
So
As
your
long
dude
as if it's not like if it's nice, it's not run down. Like as long as it's not a run down car.
Okay. But you were pretty clear, Jenny, that if your dude has got a Mini Cooper, that it's not a good
No,
look.
I just mean like because I feel like a Mini Cooper is a more feminine car. So like
Gotcha.
I just like if
So
you,
there's-
I don't feel like it's like masculine for you to
Okay.
pull up to my car in my little Mini Cooper.
So
I think
hey,
it's
we
cute.
got
When you, I
matching
think it's
minis.
cute when you drive my car, like but
Hey,
don't
listen,
pull up in my
I'll
same
drive
car.
your car. Nancy, guys, cars, turn on, turn off. Is it something that he can drive and you're like, dude, guy just rolled up in a Porsche and I'm turned on right now? Or it's like, buddy just rolled up in a broke down Civic. What are your limits with a car?
So I grew up with a lot of Asians, and we have what they call ricers.
Racers, like a racer, but like an Asian racer?
Sure, but it's like a Tokyo Drift style,
Yeah.
like lowered Honda Accord, lots of LED lights,
The thing on the back, what's that thing called?
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
like 3 feet spoilers and
Yeah.
stuff.
Asians, this is what they do.
Uh,
Your crew.
sure.
Sure, you said
I mean,
it.
there's a category of them that do it. And then
Okay.
at some point you get kind of like burnt out on it. So then like growing up with guys that were like so obsessed with their cars.
Yeah.
And then spending everything they did just to like soup up like their little Honda Fit or whatever.
Okay.
So I think after a certain point you kind of outgrow that, because that was during the time where like Fast and Furious was like super crazy. And then
Yeah.
everybody wanted to like do street racing, everything. So as long as they're not that obsessed with it, that has no like unless they're being like a professional racer or something, then
So you're more concerned about the obsessiveness of the car.
yeah.
You're like, dude, just get to A to B. Like, I don't need you to, get the system and the spoiler and the LEDs and we're racing.
And
I,
you're
what
more
are you doing?
obsessed with the car than me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like, focus
exactly.
on me. Make me happy, not your car happy.
Yeah.
You
for
want
sure.
him revving your engines, not the car engine. Did I do something okay there? Was that right?
Yeah, sure.
Jenny?
Facts.
Okay,
You said
fact.
that very
So if a
passionate.
dude rolls up in a sick car, give me a sick car where you're like, dude, that's a sick car. What's a sick car to you? Sick.
I mean, if he shows up in a Ferrari, that's cool.
Ferrari, okay, Ferrari, Lamborghini,
Rolls-Royce,
sick
obviously.
Rolls Royce. What does that do to you as a female? Like, you're like, oh shit, okay. Like, are you more willing to like, put out a little bit? You know what I'm saying? What does a car do? Sick car. Don't say nothing. Don't say don't give me the. It matters the memories that happens in the car.
It reminds me of those prank videos.
It's just like growing up in Miami is a different whole vibe of this. You know what I mean? So I feel like when you're younger and you don't really understand life and you're just like looking at it like, oh wow, that's a nice car. Like, wow. But when you grow up and you see the logistics of what's really happening, it changes perspective. Like a lot of men think that they can buy you just by pulling up in a nice whip.
Yeah.
Which you don't even own. You just rented it to take me out on this date, which I appreciate you investing in this date. However, I want the real you. Like, I don't want you to think that you can just buy me into the car.
Oh, you're saying that they rent a car for the date?
Some guys do that.
Oh.
It's like your high school reunion.
But that's why when you talk, but no, they do that. Some guys do that.
I'm gonna need a car for this weekend. It's my high school reunion. Yeah,
Some guys do that, and it's
Miami is the king of I rent a Lamborghini for the weekend.
That's what I'm telling you. Like being in Miami is a different,
I did like what you say. It's not about the car; it's the memories that we make in the car.
But it is
front seat or back seat.
All seats.
Jenny, what about if he comes in a bike?
Who's that?
Oh, if he comes in a bike
rolls
and
up
on
in a bike.
bicicleta,
Can we
is
lose
there room for me in the bicicleta?
Oh my God, double decker bike. Can
Is
we
there a
lose the
double
God
decker?
voice? Can we just have a regular voice if you're gonna weigh in? I feel like the voice of God over here. So okay, so if a guy drives an absolute clunker piece of shit, are you giving him a second date?
I'm a little turned off. I'm not gonna.
Turned off. So if a clunker rolls up and he's like, "Hey, get in," it's like my parents used Honda Civic. It's kind of broke. You're turned off.
I'm turned off.
Is that you're turned off? If it's a piece of shit, one of the ricers show up and it's like the worst ricer out there.
It's like the tailpipe is dragging across the
Sparks.
So, because like
What's the limits for like how big of a piece of shit that like if it's like a jalopy?
So from what I heard, like when it comes to money, you should definitely invest in anything that keeps you off the ground. So your shoes, your bed, and like your wheels on your car.
Say that again. Anything you should invest in. What now?
Like if you're gonna like ball out on something, it should be something that keeps you off the ground. So like you need good shoes, you need to protect your feet, you need a good bed to like it's good for your back. Yeah. And then you need good wheels for your car because if you can't drive from A to B, that's the whole you lose the whole point of everything. Yeah.
Specifically, you're focused on the wheels, not the actual vehicle.
Yeah, but if you're not committed to the rest of the car, the wheels are probably dog shit too.
Oh, I like that. What happens if like I think it was Calvin that just chimed in? He said, "What happens if he rolls up on a bike?"
On a bicicleta.
What's up? Hop in the basket, baby.
Well, is it like, are we going on a picnic? Like, I'm kind of down for that.
Yeah, it's a picnic. What about
like
a motorcycle?
Picnic on the...
Guys that drive motorcycles, is that a turn on or is that a little dangerous?
Oh, motorcycles are cool.
I'm nervous.
Okay.
I'm
nervous?
I've only been on a motorcycle once and I enjoyed it, but it's nerve-wracking.
What happens if there was like this dude, right? Hypothetical. I'm just going to make this up on the top of my head. Guy's doing pretty well for himself, pretty successful, lives in a sick place, right? He's got money. He's doing his thing. He might even host his own show. But then he's got no car. He just Ubers everywhere. He doesn't have a car. He's just Ubering everywhere. What are your thoughts on that?
I would ask him what his reasoning is for it.
Yeah, I'll tell you why my reasoning is. My reasoning.
Go.
Okay, so I live downtown Miami. I'm talking about myself.
Oh, okay.
Right here. I live downtown Miami. You know where the Miami Heat Arena is right there?
Of course.
Okay, I live right there. Do you know where the marquee is or whatever?
Yeah.
You know where the museum is?
Yeah.
Okay, so I work. That's where I lived. And I was driving up to Boca nonstop, and I had an older Mercedes. It broke down. I was like, all right, let me see. It was going to cost like $3,000 to like fix this Mercedes. Mm-hmm. I was just over it. I was like, I'm not going to fix it. Let me see how long I could go with no car. 10 years later, I still have no car. I Uber everywhere, Jenny. But where I live, downtown Miami, the only place I'm going is around downtown Miami or to South Beach. And if I'm going to South Beach, I'm going to have a drink. I'm going to party. I'm going to Uber. I'm not trying to catch a Dewey. A lot of my friends have caught DUIs. So I've avoided that.
Yeah.
So it has not stopped me from having a good time, dating, all that kind of good stuff. I've actually even bought a girlfriend a car. I just don't want to have a car. Yeah. Is there a problem with that?
No.
Good answer.
Well, that's the thing. Like
sometimes Nancy gives me a ride home occasionally.
Yeah.
Because I think it's implied if you don't have a car, you're broke.
Yes.
And if you're not broke, then if it works out for you, then sure.
I agree. Well, here's what I'm saying. If you live in New York City or in any major
you
freaking
don't-
city,
yeah.
if you don't have a car, nobody thinks it's not a big deal. But in Miami, for some reason, people are like, you don't have a car? How do you get groceries? It's like, have you ever heard of Instacart? Have you ever heard of Amazon? Have you ever heard of any of this stuff?
Yeah.
So, but the point that I'm getting at these days, let me try to, clearly a guy, let me just state some facts right now. Guy rolls up with a piece of shit, not a good look. Guy rolls up with a Mini Cooper, probably not a masculine look. Okay, supply and demand. Car prices are insane right now. Cars aren't exactly a good investment to begin with. So now if you're typically paying 20 grand for a car, now you're paying 30 grand for a car. You're just getting yourself more into debt. Now, obviously, with a car, you got car loans, you got interest rates, you got gas, you got maintenance, you got upkeep. God forbid you get a DUI. It's just a bunch of nonsense. If you live in a major city, here's my point. If you live in a major city, you live in the downtown, you can work from home, you can work from anywhere. You're not driving a half hour to work any day. The average car sits 95% of the day. That's 23 out of 24 hours. My point to you is this. Flip the script, people. You don't have to have a car, especially if you're going to go into debt or broke for your car. And if you can somehow get around without a car, give it a shot. I've done it for 10 years.
What would you say would be like one of the number one investments to make?
Oh, you mean not cars, right?
Right. Like you just said, cars is not really a good investment to make. So
Yes.
what would be like a number one investment to make?
Okay, so the number one investment you can possibly make is in yourself.
Amen.
100%. Whether that's education, whether that's mental, we'll talk about mental, whether that's emotional, whether that's getting bigger, faster, stronger, sexier, cooler, smarter, anything improving yourself. Reading books, taking classes, taking courses, watching Valuetainment, all that kind of good. That is the by far and away the number one investment you can possibly make. Number two, okay, then you start talking about appreciating assets. There's appreciating assets and depreciating assets. Depreciating assets being, what I always say, cars, clothes, jewelry. Depreciating assets. Those are the big three of depreciating assets. Cars go down in value. Your clothes go down in value. Your jewelry typically goes down in value. Appreciating assets. Now you're talking real estate. You're talking the stock market. You're even talking certain crypto right now. You're talking. I don't own property, but I own REITs. Are you familiar with REITs?
No, I'm not.
Real estate investment trust. So it's rather than owning one place, I own a portfolio of houses right now. So it's understanding the difference of appreciating assets and depreciating assets. But the number one investment you can possibly make is in improving yourself.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And one more question on this topic before we go on to the next one. Why do you think so many people in society and in our culture now invest in things like money, clothes, shoes?
Say that again. Invest
in things
cars,
such
clothes,
as
jewelry, shoes.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it is materialistic consumerism. I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses. It's all of that. There's something called lifestyle creep. You were making 50 grand a year. You were just kind of getting by. You got a bonus. Hey, you got a 20 grand bonus. Now I'm making 70 grand. I got to start living like I'm making 70. What I did is I was making no money. Like I was literally like the most I ever made before I got into financial services was 25 grand. Okay. And then boom, I made 100 grand. So that 75 grand difference, I just put it in the bank and just kept living like a broke dude. And then I started making 200 grand and 400 grand and 500 grand. And obviously I started, living in a little bit nicer places, and then I don't have a car, but I started making money. But I was like, dude, I don't need the lavish things in life to tell me who I am. That was me. Some people need it. Some people need to have that cool car because they want to look cool for girls. Some people need to get the $20,000 watch because they want to, they want to flash. Millennials, the stats these days are 40% of Americans making 100 grand or more are living paycheck to paycheck. 60% of millennials making 100 grand or more are living paycheck to paycheck. So it's not a freaking, I'm a poor thing. It's not that you don't have any money. It's you're broke and you're living paycheck to paycheck because you're spending all your freaking money on things that to maybe try to look cooler, allow to look better, keep up with the Joneses. It's called lifestyle creep. The more you make, the more you feel like you need to spend. So that's, I think, the biggest problem right now.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And to bring it full circle with what you just stated, because you're basically spending all this money on material things to validate yourself, which goes back to the number one thing you say. If they were investing in themselves, they wouldn't need that validation to feel like they're successful.
Boom, there it is. I think, and I'm sure it's changed a little bit, but there's a stat out there that they say after a certain amount of money, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask the audience, I'm going to ask you guys, after you hit a certain number of income, that happiness doesn't grow. exponentially. Meaning, there's a certain number that if you hit that number, you're going to be happy. Meaning, if you're broke and you're making minimum wage and you got 2 kids, like you can't be happy. That's tough. What do you think the number is? You want to go first, Nancy?
I want to say, like, assuming that you're alone.
Exactly. Oh, okay. I'm just in general. There's and I actually think the number is a little bit higher. That's my opinion. But there's stats out there that show this is the number where people are happy. Just assume it's a person, or even with kids, whatever. This is what the number allegedly.
Like an annual salary, you're saying?
Exactly. Annual salary. Google this. Put it up there. Don't show. Just say the amount of money that makes you happy, and then I'll give the.
I want to say about 65.
65.
Yeah.
Okay, 65. Interesting. Any reason that you picked that number?
I think it covers the essentials you need, and then still room to save, things like that. Like, you're obviously not balling out every weekend, but it also keeps you humble to like know when you can like cut back on things.
Stay humble, stay foolish. I like it. Jenny Valdes, the Jenny Valdes in la casa. Latina living.
Okay.
Oh my God, por supuesto.
Okay.
Grabadora. That's my favorite. That's my favorite Spanish word, by the way. Grabadora. Is that a stapler? What's a grabadora?
He said, I don't even know.
What's a grabadora?
A grabadora?
A recorder? What's a stapler?
grabadora.
What's a stapler? Anyway, grabadora. Love that.
Engrapadora.
Oh, it's even better.
Grapadora.
Oh my God. Jenny, what is the number that we're talking about that actually makes people happy? What do you think the number is? She said 65 grand. What do you think?
The average person, you're saying?
Yeah.
That makes people, I would say 50.
50. That's your number. So we got 50 and we got 65.
And I have a lot of numbers from the audience too.
Oh, what are they
say
saying?
them.
I love that Nancy's managing the audience.
Sure.
Let me see.
Jason says 72,000. Martin says 120,000. Miss Cassandra Aguilar says 500,000.
Okay, Cassandra.
Wow.
Flip this. Let me see what's going on
love
right
that.
there. Okay. Okay, nice. All right, flip it. Eric, you want to reveal this number real quick? The amount of money that makes people happy. Here it is. Globally, we find the
Oh, shit.
Here we go. Globally, we find that what is that? Satisfaction occurs at 95,000 for life evaluation and 60 to 75,000 for emotional well-being. The study shows. However, the study also found that the ideal income for life satisfaction in North America is 105,000, as reported by Inc. That number has changed. How about this? How much money does it take before plateauing? Go down one more. Boom. What's that number right there? Because the number that I have seen is 75,000. Let's see what this says here. A decade ago, a study out of Princeton University made headlines for showing that the income level of 75,000 per household was the sweet spot for happiness. Now, clearly with inflation right now, that's bumped up to almost 105 grand. But basically, they've put a number to happiness right now. So 75 grand was the number, and apparently that's over 100 grand right now.
Per household is like both
household,
of their
yeah.
incomes or just one income?
That's what household means. Or
Okay,
you could be a single
cool.
dude.
Okay.
Like my household income
Understood.
is 100 grand, right? Anyway, so that's it. You asked what the best investment is. But one of the worst investments, don't get it twisted. Just because your cars are a little bit more expensive these days, this bubble is going to burst. People are going to get back to work. People, the supply chain is going to get cut. Chips are going to get made. Taiwan is the number one country that produces microchips. They're also called semiconductors. And boom, next thing you know, you think you're going to invest in a car and make some money, crash. So anyway, that is the car story. We factored in a little bit of happiness right there. We talked about investing yourself. I think that was a great topic. You ready to move on to the next topic? We are halfway home. This is going to be a quick topic right now. We're going to have a little fun, and then we'll get into the final few topics. So we're going to shift right now from cars to yachts. Okay, you like yachts?
Yes.
What pretty lady don't like yachts? Nancy, you like yachts?
Sure.
When's the last time you were on a yacht?
Just the vault count as a yacht?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When's the last time you were on a yacht?
Like
Every
a month ago.
weekend she's getting
Every weekend.
Jenny, what are you up to? I got a yacht in Miami.
I love
That's
being
the
on
thing.
the water.
On the water. A yacht. You're not going to be in a little dinky though.
Wait, how do you think we got over here?
Well played. She's quick. All right. So shifting from cars to yachts. Are you familiar with the Metaverse? Is this familiar? You familiar with what's going on in the Metaverse?
Yes.
How about you, Nancy?
Yes.
The Metaverse. You familiar with this? Well, a virtual mega yacht was just sold for a record-breaking $908,000 in the Metaverse. Let me repeat. This is a virtual yacht okay, that sold in the virtual marketplace of the Metaverse. You physically can't go on this yacht, okay? And it sold for just a shade under a cool $1 million. So here's the story. So the Metaflower, super mega yacht, the Metaflower, that's a play on words from, I assume, the Mayflower, where the Pilgrims came over, which was probably not a yacht, was sold for 149 Ethereum coins, which is the equivalent of $908,000. This is the most expensive NFT token ever sold in the virtual gaming world. All right. So on the super yacht, there's a DJ booth for the DJ. Put your hands up. There's a helicopter landing pad for your fake helicopter. And there's a hot tub for you to fake jump in and, put on your fake bathing suit. Okay. So the Metaflower exists in the Sandbox Metaverse collection of NFTs. You familiar with NFTs?
Yes, but
what
I'm
does
not
NFT
very
stand
educated
for?
on it.
What is NFT?
I don't even know.
Nancy?
Non-fungible tokens.
Non-fungible. Boom. She just dropped the mic. Non-fungible token. Okay.
I don't even get it.
I don't even understand. The Sandbox is one of the leading metaverse worlds and has done collabs with everyone from Snoop Dogg to Deadmau5. That's for that DJ booth that exists on this virtual mega yacht. Can we see a picture of the mega yacht right there? Can you maybe scroll up? Okay. There's the mega yacht. Or what about the actual article? Go back to that. Scroll up the other way. There it is. There's your yacht, Jenny. Let's go get some sun. Scroll up a little bit more. There you go.
Made on Minecraft.
There's your yacht. That's where you're gonna get your tan. There's the
Let's go party
helicopter
with Snoop
pad.
Dogg.
There's your helicopter pad, your helipad. You can see there's the hot tub. There's the blue thing in the front. And, obviously there's a DJ booth in there. Anywho, so just real quick, before we talk about yachts and all this, what are you guys' thoughts on the Metaverse? I know you're not meta experts, but Nancy, you're a smart gal. What are your thoughts on the Metaverse?
I think it's cool. Like, it's a virtual world. It's kind of another way of how people can connect with each other. Like, for instance, I just moved from Dallas, so my way of connecting with all my friends back there is FaceTiming. If I could just put on some goggles and then we can just hang out together, that's like a whole nother
Boom,
form
you're
of
putting on some
communication.
goggles. Now you're on this yacht having the time of your life.
Yeah.
Good point. Jenny, Metaverse, you got any strong feelings on this?
I feel it's how you use it with technology in general. It could be an asset or not. However, I don't agree with you just spent almost $1 million on this fake yacht. Like, you're living a fake life. So what? I'm going to sit at home and wear my goggles and just live in this fantasy life for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
on a
that's
fake yacht
that's
with
literally...
Snoop Dogg turning up in my bikini, in my bamming body. Now I don't even have to get surgery, right? Like,
nothing.
you just
You don't have to
look
change.
great over
You don't gotta
I could
get
be-
ready for the
I could
date.
be out here. I could be like
Yeah.
this, like, what's up?
Yeah.
But over there, I'm banging. I have
Yeah.
fake romances on there.
Yeah.
Oh, I have the life on there.
All that. There's no commitment. You don't have to meet up with them in person. You just meet
There
them
you
on this
go.
meta yacht right there.
Yeah, so that
So
aspect
you're
of
going?
it,
Would you go on a meta yacht date? Is that something you're comfortable with, or is that kind of weird?
Sorry, the fact that it's even a question.
Yeah, exactly.
now.
This is where we're at in 2022. Would you go on a date on this meta yacht, Jenny? Hot Jenny from the block over here. You ready to go on a meta date? I'm gonna take you on my helipad.
Negative. You better pick me up from my house, and we better meet up in person. I
Pick
need
me
human
up.
connection.
I
I
mean,
don't need no fake.
And it better
stuff.
not be in a freaking Mini Cooper, bro.
Well, this goes
Yeah.
into location, right? Because Florida is pretty much open, and I imagine this happens in places that are still shut down.
Okay.
So a lot of virtual dates are probably more common in California and New York and stuff.
But do
Gotcha.
you really have to go to the let's say you do a virtual date. Like, I did long distance for a while when I was in a relationship, so there was a lot of FaceTime sessions. I feel like you can just pick up the phone or Zoom and do that way, than have to go into a metaverse and explore. I don't.
Guys, this is the future. I'm not sure if you understand. You know that Facebook just changed their name
I
to
know.
Meta.
I know.
They changed their
I'm
name
gonna
to
have a hard
Meta.
time adapting to this.
Mark Zuckerberg ain't no idiot. He understands that the future of dating is on meta yachts. Okay? Speaking of Mark Zuckerberg, is there any amount of money that you would sleep with Mark Zuckerberg?
I would.
He's into Asians, by the way. He's married to an Asian.
No.
Any amount of money? You don't care how rich he is, you wouldn't?
I don't know. I can't imagine that climbing on top of you.
No?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying. This goes back into my anxiety. I couldn't go through with it. I'd probably throw up or something.
Jenny, Mark?
I wouldn't
does
even
Mark,
do it for free.
Nothing.
No.
Okay, so Mark, for free, obviously, but would you do it for money?
No, I wouldn't even do it for free. Even.
No, I get the free thing.
How
I
much
get,
would it
but
take
for the money,
you to bang
Oh,
Mark
I get it.
Zuckerberg?
Sorry, I meant to say for the most money. My bad, bro.
I wouldn't do it for free.
I
Yeah,
meant
no
to say
shit.
for the most money.
I wouldn't do it for free either, Jenny. I would do it for money.
My bad. That was.
I wouldn't have sex with him for free. Yeah, no shit, Jenny. What about for the money?
I'm not used to
answer
having
these
sex for
questions
money.
too.
Ask me questions. I just told you that I would let Drake and his squad run a gangbang on me for $1 billion.
You really would?
No, but yes.
But
Anyway, we're having fun
love
here.
that
What's
for
the
you.
question for you?
how much would it take for you to bang Mark Zuckerberg?
To bang Mark Zuckerberg? How many shares of Facebook would I own at that point?
3.
3 shares. They're like $1,000 a share. That's not a good deal.
How much would it take?
I don't know. I'm not
A
gay.
billion, clearly a billion.
Listen, I'm not gay, but my boyfriend is, and let me tell you something. No, I'm into girls, but listen,
Technically,
I have this conversation with Gerard, who if you watch the PPD podcast, big dude. We have this conversation all the time. I'm sure guys have this conversation like, how much would it take for you to da-da-da-da-da? And I'm just saying, for most guys, you take a shower, you get some therapy, you use some mouthwash, you're down to do whatever. And I'm just saying, for the right amount of money. This is a money show at the end of the day. So I have no interest in sleeping with Mark Zuckerberg, but for $1 billion, how you doing? So
$1 billion. I used to do this
less
thing.
than $1 billion, probably, but yeah, what?
I used to do this thing at bars when I would go
$5
out with my
just
friends,
$5.
and then I would always
$20
ask.
is
Like,
I wouldn't do it for free, though.
$20,
I'll tell you what, I would not do it for free. That's not happening. Not happening, Mark.
I'm not used to getting paid for having sex. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a firm line in the ground. That's not free, Mark. Indecent proposal. Yes, Ms. Nancy?
No, when I used to go out with my friends, like when we go out to bars or something, I would always ask the guy, like, how much would it cost you to, like, blow this guy?
Yeah.
And then they would always throw out like $1 billion, $100 million, whatever. And then
then you counter-offer?
Yeah, I would just
Okay,
keep
go
doing
ahead.
it. It's like, well,
Go.
you're in like 50 grand in debt from like college or something. Like,
Yeah.
what about 60? It's like, I'll do it for 60. And then progressively, it's like, you have $8,000 left in your car payment. Would you do it for 10? It's like, yeah, I'll do it for 10. And just progressively
It's like,
going
just buy
down.
me dinner and tell me that I'm pretty, and I'll do it. That's fine.
Exactly.
You're saying that you'll start with the $1 billion, and then next thing you know, it's $8 grand, and you just paid off your car. Exactly. Everyone throws the crazy number out there, but it's like, all right, would you do it for $100 million? Yeah, of course. What about $10 million? Yeah.
$8
What about just a
bathroom.
dinner at Red Lobster and I kiss you goodnight? Okay, fine. All right, interesting stuff. So nobody here is sleeping with Mark Zuckerberg. Certainly not for free.
Certainly not for free.
And nobody, and Jenny, just to recap, she wants a date in real life. Don't be meta dating Jenny. Nancy's down to clown, especially in lockdown, and she's down for a meta date.
Sure.
This is it. We got the yin and the yang. All right. Speaking of dating, speaking of relationships, let's go to our next topic right now. And these are the most common things that couples argue about when it comes to finances. Okay, by the way, Nancy, what's your longest relationship?
5 years.
What was the deep breath before?
No, I was just thinking.
all the memories came back.
Years.
I broke up with
Okay,
him.
5 years. Jenny, what's your longest
A
relationship?
year and a half.
A year and a half. Okay, rookie.
Yes, very.
Mine is about 4.5 years. And did you ever argue about money?
We were kids.
We were kids. What age is kids?
18, 19.
Okay, your last relationship when you were 25, whatever it is, did you ever argue about money?
No.
Never about money. Nancy, would you ever argue about money with the ex that should not be named?
Yes, that was actually one of our biggest arguments.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do tell.
I think it was just also lifestyle too, because especially during COVID, COVID, he lost his job while I still had mine.
Yeah.
And then the money situation kind of fluctuated, and then it became the point where he did get a little dependent, and that was like emotionally exhausting for me. And then there was, that's where it goes into like, I'm not here to like take care of a guy. But I mean, unless he's like, actively trying. But then I know with COVID, like they were also getting, what are those, like just
Stimulus checks?
Yeah, stimulus checks and like
what are those things that people got? Stimmies?
yeah, unemployment, and it was
Unemployment benefits, of course.
$600 plus whatever they were getting.
Yep. It was state and federal. Boom. So some people were getting $1,000 a month to just chill,
Yeah, and then
if not more.
And because of that, he became kind of complacent on like his situation.
Yeah, that's what
So-
happened to a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. And then
What was the word that we talked about that was a major
Ambitious.
turn on? Ambitious. That's what they call
Boys,
me.
you need to be ambitious. Mr.
Exactly.
Ambitious, that's what they call you?
Ambitious Adam over here.
I like
That's what they call it my whole life.
That's a
My
nice
whole
ring to
life.
it. Ambitious
I just made
Adam.
that up, but I'm gonna stick to it. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, and then on my end, and it got to the point where I got kind of like resentful about it. It's
You're like, here I am working like a
Yeah, and I
like
work
a
a lot.
dog. I work a lot. You work crazy hours, and here's some dude just chilling, catching stimmies, smoking weed all day.
Yeah, and just like complaining about whatever.
Not hot.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here are the 5 most common things that people argue about. I know you said you haven't had arguments, and you have had clearly some arguments. Here are the most common things that people argue about. Number 1, money argument number 1 is judging or resenting each other's spending habits. So, for example, some of you in a relationship, let's say you're a saver, and let's say you're a spender. Well, let me rephrase that. Let's say you're the saver.
What is that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying. I know she's a saver, and I'm just saying.
Okay.
Let's say, okay, you're the saver, you're the spender. This is what we got going on. So one of you is more like frugal and cheap and money conscious, and one of you is more of a shopaholic, materialistic. That can certainly lead to arguments, especially if you're thinking about the future. Okay, right now, this is what's going on, but is this person going to spend all my money? And it's not a guy or girl thing, because women work too. Women got their own bills, so don't even make it seem like it's the guy who's got the payment or making the money and the girl who's not. Like Nancy just recapped that she was making that money and the ex, wasn't working so hard. But your mind starts to wonder about what the future holds. What are your thoughts on that, Jenny? A spender, saver, you're resenting spending habits.
No, I mean, I'm a saver, so I think it's important to save. But I will highlight my brothers and their one of my brothers and his wife. Some of the arguments he has with her, mind you, they each bring what great income into the household. So she makes her money, they meet each other halfway. And he gets mad at her sometimes, like if she wants to do her nails or get her hair done or do a little shopping online. And she doesn't even go crazy about it, but if a woman if she likes to do that and it's her money, she should be able to do that.
Oh, he gets mad that she spends money on herself like that?
Yeah, like sometimes it's like, why? Because
this is your brother?
Yeah.
Do you ever say like, bro, listen, I
know,
coming from a female perspective, like let the girl spend some money on her stuff.
I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I'm working on that.
Okay.
But I feel like there are some guys that because they're over savers, they don't allow you to have certain. Not allow you, because she could do what she wants. I'm not saying that specifically. I just mean in general. Like, they kind of feel some type of way about you, like, spending the money when it could have gone for the kids or it could have gone this. Like, you should invest in yourself at the end of the day, financially being smart, but doing things that please you at the end of the day, too.
Yeah, there definitely has to be, like, a quota you
balance, yeah.
Because, like, for instance, like, with me and my ex, it was a period where he couldn't even pay for rent.
Yeah, you see that.
So then, like, if he can't cover that part, and then I'm seeing you like buying like random shit, then of course the resentment like starts building up.
Can I ask you a question? If he didn't pay for rent, but he let's say he was working towards a goal or like was close to what ambitious?
Yeah, for sure.
That would okay.
But then I'm still like rating that every day too. Like if I come home and you're still sleeping, then it's like, what the fuck did you do today?
Yeah, I
He
dated
was
a girl.
sleeping, doing nothing.
Yeah, I dated a girl one time. This is when I first started, like really, because in my early 20s, I was like a nightlife comedian. I just, I was more of just like I made no money. And then when I started hustling, I was probably like 26, 27. I was like, all right, I'm going to get this job. I'm going to start grinding. I'm going to start doing my thing. I was probably like 27, 28. And this girl was kind of like, we were just started dating and she lost her job. And, I really wasn't, she couldn't pay her rent. And I really wasn't dating I wasn't really into like dating homeless chicks. So I was like, all right, you can stay with me for a little bit. Boom, boom, boom.
Was that homosexual?
Homosexual, exactly. And she would just sleep all day long. And I would start to resent, like, here I am, busting my ass, coming home, and you're just sleeping all day. And I just started to resent. And this is basically, it wasn't even spending habits, but resentment does happen because you're not just spending money, you're also spending time. Investing time or you're spending time. Time is your most important asset you can possibly have. Everyone has 24 hours in a day, and it's just what you do with them, right? So this girl was just fucking nothing burger over here. So here's my advice. This is money argument numero uno, judging or resenting somebody. If you are judging or resenting somebody, rather than, this what the fuck, I would start to get curious. I would start asking questions. Hey, by the way, why do you spend so much money on your nails? Why do you, sit around and do nothing all day? I would, rather than judge and resent, I would find the root of the problem. Maybe, they have different philosophies on money. Maybe their family taught them, whatever it is. But if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, you obviously see the long-term, benefit of being with that somebody. There's nothing worse than judging and resenting in a relationship. It's, understanding and compassion and communication is the key. So my advice is, instead of judging, start to get curious and ask questions. You said you're good at asking questions. So if your man is ain't doing shit, spending all his dough, I would say, honey, why is it that you need to da, 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 da? And maybe your brother should ask his wife or girlfriend.
Wife.
His wife, honey, hwhy is getting your nails and hairs done?
So
Why do you spend like, baby, it makes me feel good. Whatever her answer is, okay, I understand. And believe me, those are the least of your freaking issues. How much is it to get your hair and nails done? A couple $100? Okay. Anyway, you ready for money argument number 2? Money argument numero dos are arguments surrounding the disparity of income. I know this better than most. So maybe you're making double, triple, 5, 10 times more than your significant other. Maybe it's, vice versa. Again, men, women make money, it's not just a male thing. So maybe one of you is stressed out over money and one of you is like, yo, I'm good. I'm chilling right there. Okay. Or it's the person that makes less that is spending, their partner's money sort of like indiscriminately, and their boyfriend, girlfriend starts to resent it. So disparity of income. Have you ever dated somebody that makes a lot less than you or a lot more than you? Yeah. Which one?
A lot more than me.
A lot more than you. That's right. Cause you only date ballers. Hello.
Miami
and
swag.
how did that work out?
It didn't. I'm still single.
Okay. Give us some details. Meaning like he was making a lot and you were making a good amount. What happened in that relationship? You said you didn't argue about money, but was the disparity of income, something that was very apparent in the relationship?
No.
Jenny, I know you're very outspoken. All of a sudden you're holding back right now.
Because I feel like the arguments we had were never really about income.
Gotcha. So it wasn't a big deal, but it was apparent.
But for me...
But you knew homie was doing all right.
Yeah, no, he was straight. But for me, it motivated me to be like, I want to get on that level. But I also was able to see just because you have that doesn't mean you're happy. That's why I'm so big on the happiness thing, because I've been around a lot of successful people, and I'm like, money don't make you like that.
Gotcha.
It gives you power. It makes you feel powerful, but it doesn't mean you're really happy.
Respect. Nancy, have you ever dated somebody that made a ton of money more than you or a ton less than you? Ever?
Not a ton more than me. But I mean, like,
I only date broke dudes. She dates ballers. She dates the ballers, and she's dating the broke boys. Okay.
Like the opposite side.
You need to step your game up, and you need to lower your expectations.
No, I need to step my game up too. I'm still single. We still single, girl.
Single.
We both have to. This is why this is good. We're gonna find a happy medium.
Okay, you guys go out in the town. You find a broke dude. You find a rich dude. Maybe it's a father-son
where
combo.
Where do you fall in this?
As far as what?
As far as I don't know.
I don't know if I've ever dated a girl that makes more than me. I don't know if I've ever. I don't think that's.
Would it make you feel demasculine? Is that a word?
Emasculated.
Emasculated.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm like demasculated.
No, I don't think so. But I would say a girl like that, they're gonna have there is a part of being a guy. There is a part of being a guy that's like, I'm the fucking man. I make the money around here. Girl, you go cook me some shit. Like Eric is big on that right there. No? He's right there. He's a millionaire. Yeah, he doesn't have a mic for a reason. But Eric, you feel me on that? Do you feel me on this or no? Hey, no comprendo. No hables inglés. All that. Okay, I'm just saying, like, guy. But it is a big deal. Income is a big deal. This is a money show. It's obviously we're talking relationships, but disparity of income is a thing. All right, money argument número 3. Number 3. By the way, they're not exactly all in order, but are fights surrounding debt and paying off debt, right? So there's different types of debt. We all know student loans, credit card, car loans, mortgage is a debt, right? It's an appreciating asset, but is a debt. So there's arguments revolving around how to pay it off, when to pay it off, who's responsible for paying it off. If you're married, you're together, you're doing the mortgage thing together, obviously. How long does it take to pay it off? Typically, it takes 18 to 20 years to pay off student loans. Student loans are a big thing. So have you ever gotten a fight, either one of you, with your significant other over debt and paying off debt? Open floor. Anyone?
No, because I knew my ex also had a lot of debt too, but that was like completely separate. Anything that we fought about was like money we had to like put in together. So rent was.
So his debt was his debt, not your debt.
Yeah.
Even though you guys lived together, it was like, buddy, good luck, but I'll be over here.
He would just have to cover what we shared.
That debt does affect what he brings to your relationship, though.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, it made it harder, but I don't think specifically I never fought about. As long as he was handling it on his own, then it was
What
never an
happens if he
issue.
defaulted on his debt and he wasn't paying his bills, but he was still splitting the rent with you, but he had a whole just fiasco situation going on that you like maybe were aware of, but kind of unaware of. But again, he was splitting the rent with you. He was taking you out, but behind closed doors, homie was just drowning in debt. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it'll eventually come out. Like the longer you guys are together, like even though if we started dating like the first few months and he's like obviously trying to impress and everything and he wants to take you out, but eventually like a year or two down the line it's gonna come out because he's gonna be stressed out.
And when it comes out, what happened? Like, what would you be like, dude? What do you get it together? You know, like that is a big deal.
Yeah, and at some point, unless you're getting married, unless there was already a commitment, that it shouldn't be the other person's problem.
Got it. Jenny, any ever deal with relationship debt situation? Now your
I haven't
baller
been
boyfriend.
with somebody long enough
My
to-
baller boyfriend ain't got no debt, son. Okay, so do you have any debt that you?
No,
okay.
I told you my mom's an accountant, so she raised me very
This
like.
girl, by the way, I don't know if you guys, you know, you can DM her. I don't know, but this is a hot commodity over here. But you got to be making 6 figures or more, or she's gonna fucking delete you. And you better
What is
be
it?
joining
105. I need
Okay, you
105
gotta
to be
have
happy. I have to have
105
105 to be happy.
Okay, so
He said 50 at first.
No, I'm saying on
Exactly.
this.
Hey,
according to the article, I gotta
game
go
has
on
changed.
stats.
The
yeah,
game has changed.
I gotta double up.
They got to double up. All right, money argument number 4 is who controls the cash flow. Money argument number 4, who controls it? So obviously in some relationships, I'm talking serious relationships. You didn't just start dating like 3 weeks ago. Serious relationships, you're living together. You know, there's somebody who's typically controlling the finances while the other person just kind of gets out of the way and like, honey, you got this, whatever. The problem is that it can lead to an unbalance in the relationship. Someone's got the power, they got the money, they're controlling, and it's an unhealthy dynamic where the other person is just sort of meek. It can be a guy or girl thing. I met a girl the other day who was a freaking boss, and her husband's like, whatever you say, honey. So it goes both ways. So have you ever been in a relationship where like you control the cash flow? Like I've been in this relationship for sure. I'm like, I'm paying the bills around here. Here's what I did. Look, I'll pay the rent, but like I learned this because I told you the girl who was sleeping all day. I was like, all right, clearly they got to do something. So this is what I learned. This is something that I implemented. All right, baby, listen. I'm gonna take care of the big stuff. I'm paying the rent. I'm paying anything more than $1,000. Like that's all me. Papi's got this. That was a little Spanish
Girl,
thing. Okay.
that made you feel real good.
Exactly.
Papi's got this.
I've never actually called myself Papi in my life, but hey, Papi got yo tengo.
You're getting a lot of names.
Exactly.
Ambitious.
Adam's got this.
Adam's got this.
Ambitious Adam's got this. But you're going to take care of the small stuff. You're going to take care of the $70, $80, $100 utilities. You're going to do maybe the groceries. Maybe you'd pay for the maid. Small stuff. $100 expenses. Because now we're in this together. I'm taking care of the big stuff. I'm making car payments. I'm paying rent. I'm doing the big stuff. But baby, this ain't a free ride. Because we talked about the guy that was living at home, and next thing you know, he's a millennial, and he's 21, he's 24, he's 25. It's just free. There's no sense of responsibility. You don't have to grow up. So for a woman or a man, sometimes like you got to have some skin in the game. You can't just be like, this is a free ride. This is amazing. So, you know, that was my philosophy. Is that something that you, like for you paying your own bills, I get it. But, you know, if the dude was like, listen, baby, I'm going to pay the rent. We're living together, but you're taking care of the groceries and you're taking care of the utilities and, you know, you pay the maid $80 every 2 weeks, whatever. Is that something you would be down for?
What
just happened there? What just happened?
I mean,
I'm not asking you to start living with me and pay the freaking. I'm asking in general.
I think it works out for certain people. Like, as long as you can make that distinction from the very beginning, like, this is what each person's doing, then sure, whatever makes them happy.
Okay.
I mean, for me personally, I like to work. I like to make my own money. And I don't like relying and being dependent on somebody
But if you were living with a guy and he's like, Nancy, I do very well for myself. I'm not going to sound like a douchebag. I do very well for like, I good. You're moving in with me. You're moving into my apartment.
Yeah.
You're
I'm allergic to
rent-free.
cats.
Hey, don't bring my cats into this. Don't bring my cats into
How much
this.
is left out? You have cats?
Oh my! I got 20 cats that live with me.
I thought it was 25.
Two cats,
She-
boy and a
she
girl,
telepathically
and they're
told me
gorgeous.
25.
That's why I stayed with my mom, because my mom's taking care of my cats right now, just for a couple days. Right? But if I say, listen, Nancy, you're gonna move in with me. You know, I'm in a nice place. I'm gonna like you're rent free, but here's what I need you to do: just take care of the groceries. Is that something you'd be okay with?
Yeah, I mean, I can do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
there it was. Would
Yeah.
you take care of the groceries if I pay the rent?
Yeah.
So does that sound like a fair deal?
Yeah.
Okay. You looked at me like I was crazy over here. All right. So one of you handles the big stuff, the other handles the small stuff. I'm cool with that. And wrapping this up, money argument numero 5. Number 5. are decisions surrounding major purchases. And major purchases, houses, cars, schools, vacations, right? I mean, anything several $1,000s or more, even having kids, obviously is a big decision. These are the big stressors in the relationship. So the bigger the purchase, the more you guys need to be on the same page. Like, for instance, like your brother who fights with his wife about getting nails done. We're just $50. Like, why fighting about this? But we're going to buy a new car. Like, you ever see it's like, it's the Lexus season to remember. Honey, I bought you a new car. It's like, are you going to run this idea by me? You just made a $50,000 decision on a freaking whim. We are struggling over here. You can't just be showing up with a new car just because you put a big red arrow ribbon on it. Like, come on, like, run this by me. So the bigger decision, you need to be on the same page, right? So thoughts on this?
No, agree. You have to be in union with the big purchases, 100%.
Small purchases, you can be a little more...
Yeah, lenient. If it's your money, I mean, if I'm not using your money, it's my money.
True.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, especially if you guys are, as long as it doesn't get in the way of what you guys are doing together, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, if you can ball out on a giant new car, then sure, if you can afford it.
Okay. So we're talking money relationship. We're talking money in relationships. We're talking fighting with your man or woman over these types of topics. Has a guy ever asked you to split a bill on a first date?
Oh.
What was that noise?
No, I'm just thinking about it. I want to say no.
Okay. If you want to go Dutch, never. Jenny, has a guy ever asked you to split, not your baller guys, split a bill on a first date? Have you ever paid on a first date at all? Like, picked up the tab?
So this is my thing.
Yep. Oh, here we go. I like how you this is my thing. ...
This is my thing. We live in a world now where I'm all about women empowerment. Don't get me wrong. I am all about women working and getting it, right? But I've come to find at the end of the day, you still need, in a relationship, in a household, the man still needs to feel like the man. I believe in knowing your role, Like, I can be a boss woman at work, in my entrepreneurship or whatever, but when I come home, like, you're my puppy. Adam Bobby.
I just got another puppy for that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard sometimes to flip the switch, because when you're out there getting it, sometimes you're really sitting in your masculine energy that you forget to come home and like, all right, now I can sit in my feminine energy. So I talk about, you to circle back to your question about payment on a first date. I remember being on a first date with a guy, and when the bill came, sometimes I'm quick to grab the bill. Because I used to think my perspective was like, I don't want you to feel like I owe you anything. So I don't want to feel like just because you paid for my dinner, that means that something has to happen, right? Like, I was really stern on I'm independent, like, and making it known. And I didn't realize that in that process, sometimes I would make a man feel threatened or intimidated by doing a bold statement like that. By grabbing
the bill.
Right, by grabbing the bill.
Yeah.
And I never realized I wasn't sitting in my femininity at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember that one specific date, we're sitting there and the bill came and I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this is when I started changing my perspective. I said, do I pay for the bill? Do I not? What do I do? Like, and you're like, I was just like, chill. Like, I didn't do anything. And then he grabbed the bill and he paid, and he looked at me and he said, and this was somebody who was starting off his career, so he wasn't 100% financially stable. He was still living with his parents. And he's like, oh, I thought you would pay the bill. And I said, hold on. And he said, it's not because I have a problem paying the bill. He's just like, with your characteristics of what I've known so far of you, I feel like you would be somebody who's dominant to like, And in that moment, I said to myself, wow, it's interesting. Like, being a powerful woman sometimes can come off as intimidating, or sometimes it comes off a certain way that doesn't allow a man to show up as himself. You know what I mean? It could be too powerful, it could be too dominant. Versus like, but also he was a younger guy, so that was definitely a lesson for him. Like, you pay for your woman, But nonetheless, I think I personally, like, I want you to pay the bill, right? Like, a woman wants to feel like you're making an investment towards her.
Ooh,
now she doesn't.
An investment.
It's an investment.
Okay.
It's an investment. You're taking me out, and this is an investment. However,
you're an appreciating asset, is what
yes, I bring
this
value.
Relationship.
I bring value to this. But what kind of value are we talking about here? And that's when the wires get crossed throughout relationships. You know what I mean? It's not, now I'm living off of you or any of that. It's like I can equally bring. Now, if we're dating and we're getting more serious, like, yeah, I'll pick up the bill and I'll pay. Yeah, we can go. Like, you know, it's not that you have to pay all the time, but in the beginning of getting to know me, I want to know that you can bring value to the relationship just as I can bring value.
Respect. So what's the bottom line with that? Give me
Pay
some.
for the bill. If you're a man, pay for the bill.
Nancy, do you have any disagreement with our friend Jenny over here?
No, I agree with that 100%. Because I like taking care of somebody else too, like switching it up. But at the same time, for a first date.
First date.
Yeah, first
Pay for the
date.
bill.
It's more of an impression, right?
100%. I don't care if you're a broke dude, rich dude, whatever it is.
You find a means.
First date, you pay for that freaking bill. I don't. To be just full disclosure, I don't think a girl has paid for a bill ever for me. Like that is like I'm all about saving that money and investing and appreciating. I get it. But if it's a date, best believe I'm paying. Like there's nothing worse than being like, honey, the bill is $82. So would you mind Venmoing me $41? Bro, get a freaking life. Are you freaking kidding me? So I don't know if a girl has ever, like one time I was on a date with her, it was multiple dates. And like, I think on the 6th or 7th date, she's like, hey, I'd like to get this one. And I was like, no, you really, she's like, I need to get. I was like, that's fine, babe. Like, you got this. Cool. So at a certain point, is it okay for a girl to pick it? Like, what's it?
Yeah.
Second date? Hell no. Third date? No way. But like, 6th date? I got this? Like, what's the rule on that?
I mean, I don't think it's a rule. I think you just feel the relationship out.
That's what I'm saying in general.
You
but
know, like
at a certain point, a girl is going to step up and say, like, listen, I appreciate it. Let me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, if a girl's willing to offer, like, sometimes accept it because she wants to take care of you like
Yeah.
you've been taking care of her.
But
you
it is
know?
kind of awkward. Like if you're doing well for yourself and you're typically taking a girl out and she decides to pay, there's kind of like,
Right.
It's not.
Yeah, but
I
if
mean,
she's
but it's-
offering, then let her do it.
Just let her do it. Because
Yeah.
you also want to, you're just like, no, you will never pay. Like you're also
Yeah,
kind of
that's
dismissing
too, like,
them,
then
right?
what are you saying? Like, you
Yeah.
own me? And then at that point, I feel like you're trying to own me.
That's right.
You know,
That's
so
right.
it's the balance.
Okay. So rules on this one is
Pay on the first date. If
pay
you're a
on the
man,
first date
pay on the first
for sure. Anyway, so those are 5 common things people argue about and in regards to money, dating, and then a little bonus of pay on the first date, gentlemen. Have a little respect for yourself and for your lady, because at the end of the day, the lady is an investment. You're
Yes.
investing in the relationship. Well played, Jenny. All right, let's move on to our final topic. This has been very, very fun. We're rounding out the hour right now at the 6 o'clock hour. So this is a story about our friend Shaq. Everyone's familiar with Shaq. I think he's the man. Diesel. I think he's an actual genuine stud of a dude and a good dude, and he's doing very well for himself. But basically, you know, he weighed in on the topic of mental health. And I know you have very strong feelings on this. So basically, mental health in general is a very big topic right now. You know, people talk about in the COVID right now, people, you know, science, trust is science, we're on lockdown, but a lot of people locked down, you know, depression's a big thing, exercising a big thing, mental health is a big thing. You know, we're here in Florida. We kind of have the luxury of going out and doing our thing. Nancy's, you know, encouraging people to go on meta yacht dates. But mental health is a big thing. So I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on what Shaq had to say about millionaire athletes using mental health as an excuse. Okay? So here's the story. So in a recent episode on his Big Shaq podcast, basically he weighed in on the topic of mental health, right? And he completely bashed athletes that are basically using mental health as an excuse. So here's the quotes that Shaq said, and then we'll get your guys' thoughts on the other side of this. He basically said, I am tired of people using that when it's not the case. That's my Shaq impersonation. So he said, I need to see what it is before I speak on mental health. I know some people that really need help, but I am tired of these rich millionaires every time something goes crazy, something goes wrong, talking about mental health problems. You know what? I'm thinking about getting a degree on this subject. So basically, just off top, how do you guys feel about Shaq in general?
I love Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was younger, I played basketball and I
Okay.
wore number 32 because I wanted to play like him.
Really?
Yeah.
06, they won the championship.
Yes.
Shaq,
Yes.
D-Wade.
I've watched him since he was in the Lakers with Kobe.
Were you ever a heat dancer? I
Yeah.
know you've danced with
Yeah.
Pitbull and a lot of
I
celebrities.
was a heat dancer for 2 years.
You were a heat dancer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what years?
13, 14, 15.
LeBron years. No, after LeBron.
Right. No, we also love LeBron after they won the
Okay.
championship.
Gotcha. When they
was
lost
there
to the
for 2
Spurs.
years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're a big Shaq fan. What are your thoughts on Shaq?
I liked him in Shazam.
Shazam! That's so funny.
I
Okay.
love that. That's so great. He's so great. He's so likable.
You should make 7 more. I don't know.
Look, so he basically went in on mental health. I don't think he was really talking trash about mental health at all, but he was basically saying, listen, you big baller athletes, man up, stop using mental health as an excuse. Do you think that mental health is a term that's being thrown around too loosey-goosey, willy-nilly style right now?
I think mental health is a term that needs to be stated, but it is getting used loosely. And I feel like by him making that statement, sometimes, you know, people that don't see what happens behind the scenes are quickly to judge because you don't know what's really happening, right?
Yep.
You just see the cookie cutter version of what social media shows you of these celebrities. Do I believe a lot of celebrities suffer, or millionaires suffer from mental health issues? Yes. But I also believe some of them abuse that, right? So, I'm not going to play today's game because this and this just happened. Like, no, man up and play. Stop using that as an excuse to sit the bench.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there are others that definitely have an issue. And one of the guys I admire is Isaiah Thomas. When his sister passed away and that guy played, and I was just like...
The younger Isaiah Thomas that played for the Celtics.
Yeah,
of course.
And then
His sister died I think the day before.
the day before,
or that
and
day,
he played the next playoff. And
Yeah.
I was like, that is
He was in
admirable.
tears during the game, yes.
But he was just like, I'm going to use this as fuel. And to me, that was inspirational.
Wow, that's a great example,
You know?
for sure.
He could have easily been like, I have mental health, I can't. And he was just like, no, I'm a man up, and we're going to play this game, and I'm going to show up. You know? So I think there's a fine balance of knowing when to use that mental health issue and when not to use it.
I got a lot of respect for that guy. He's
Yeah, me too.
5'9", and he's
Yeah.
just balling
And then
out
they
the
traded
NBA.
him the next year. I said, this is all
That's true.
business. I
He
can't.
was hurt. He hurt his hip, and
But
now he's making a
still,
comeback. So what are your thoughts on it? I know sometimes you have anxiety, right? But you show up to work every day.
Yeah, sure.
She's like, yes.
Yeah. So with Shaq, I think for him to like bash on other athletes about mental health, like I feel like out of all people, might as well be Shaq. Like he is an athlete. He's a big one too.
So it's acceptable coming from him.
Yeah, because he knows firsthand experience like what they're going through.
Yeah.
The
of
other
course.
thing is that there's probably a big thing of like people crying out wolf with mental health.
Mhm. Have you ever dated an athlete?
No.
Have you ever dated an athlete?
Yes.
Professional?
Yes.
What sport?
Basketball.
Okay. Forward, center, guard. What we got?
Oh yeah, sit in. That's too personal, right?
Okay. Have you
We're
ever
still
dated?
in our first episode
true.
with
That's
me.
true. We said that. Take it
Poco a
easy.
poco.
Okay. Now, have you ever dated somebody that was mentally unhealthy?
Yes.
Yeah. Was it the athlete or was it somebody else?
Somebody else.
Okay. Have you ever dated somebody that was mentally unhealthy?
Yes.
You have. So what was that like going through dating someone mentally unhealthy?
He was somebody who was successful as well, a celebrity, and it was eye-opening for me, right? Because people see a social media version of somebody and they don't know what they're going through behind closed doors. But you gotta put on the face for the fans.
So for a celebrity, gotcha.
Right, you know? So for me, it's like, well, why can't you own the fact that this is what you're going through? Because that's relatable, you know? But some people need time in their process to embrace that part of themselves.
Got it. How about you? Ever dated any mentally unhealthy dudes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard because after a while it's kind of out of their control, and then eventually it kind of bleeds over in the relationship. And then also if it's a serious relationship that you care and love the person, then you're always going to try to help somebody that can't really help themselves, and then in turn it kind of ruins your whole self-esteem too.
So what's your advice for people that are, this isn't a mental health show, but and you guys have strong opinions. What's your advice for, a guy or a girl out there struggling with this kind of stuff? You got anything?
Therapy.
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 That's the answer.
Yeah.
Not pills though.
No, not pills. I mean, it could be involved eventually sometimes, but I mean, that's case by case.
Therapy. What would you recommend?
Awareness. Face yourself and realize that it's okay, whatever you're going through that's happening. Seek help from others. Talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel like you have to face these things alone. When there's a team of people around you, you're just not in that state of like, I need to seek help. And then therapy, but it doesn't mean I have to go to a psychiatrist, to see somebody. Like, you can find different versions of therapy. Sometimes it's through art. Like, sometimes we have all this built up tension inside of ourselves because we don't express ourselves. Like, mine is dance. Like, when I'm in a place, I release my energy through movement. Somebody could be drawing, some people could be singing, and it doesn't mean that you have to do this as a profession. It's just an outlet for you, a therapeutic outlet for you to release the energy
So you
to
release
somewhere
it
else.
via dance.
Yeah, you can release the energy somewhere else. And as well as there's other versions, like there's online coaching, there's other things, but some people think therapy has to be, okay, I'm sitting to a psychiatrist and this is what's happening because this is what therapy is. There's so many versions, so it's open yourself up to find what version of therapy works for you.
So yeah, by the way, 1 through 10, how good are your dancing skills?
Like a -2.
No, stop it. You're a professional. What's your you're a professional.
-2.
-2, my ass. Nancy, how are your dancing skills?
-10.
I believe that. I believe that. We're gonna have a dance off. Professional dancer over here. Nancy is.
I'm gonna teach her some salsa moves.
Oh, dude.
You don't waste your time. Nancy, this is Nancy's dance move.
The snap.
I can't even snap.
Can't even snap. Anyway, talking about mental health, I remember the first time I ever heard about this was, speaking of the Heat players, that ironically Shaq played for the Heat, won a championship. There was a player, you might remember the name, you might not, but it was a guy called Willie Burton. Do you remember this name?
No.
Willie Burton was, you remember Glenn Rice, who played for the Heat?
Yes.
Okay, Glenn Rice is an all-time Heat player. I think Glenn Rice got drafted. The Heat started in 1988. Okay, Heat started in 1988. I started going to Heat games with my dad. I was, a 7, 8-year-old kid. Boom. We drafted Glenn Rice. He was the freaking man, amazing 3-point shooter. And then the next year, so that was in 1989. And then 1990, we drafted a guy called Willie Burton. And this guy was a beast, right? He came out, I think it's like his first season, he scored like 55 points against a baller. And then next thing you know, he started sitting out games because he was depressed. And I remember being a kid, I'm like, Willie, like, come on, buddy, we need you. He missed the entire season because he was depressed, and then like never played again. And I remember just being like a kid and not understanding. I'm like, dude, play freaking basketball. You're getting paid millions. And he was depressed, and it's a real thing, is what I'm saying. And as a kid, I didn't understand it, but it is a real thing these days. And I think whether Shaq was trying these athletes or not trying these athletes, I think especially in the time of COVID, any attention to getting mentally healthier, emotionally healthier, physically healthier is very important. Not to get all on a political rift, but they tell you to take the vax, they tell you to social distance, they tell you to wear the mask. Okay, great. But there's preventative things you could do. Get some exercise.
Teach us how to be healthy.
Teach us how to be healthy. Not just, reactive things, but preventative things. So mentally health, physical health, emotional health, it's a big deal. Anyway, this took a turn for the serious mode. So let's end with a more of a lighthearted question. We asked the question, would you rather date the, rich, ugly dude or the hot, broke dude? So I'm just going to throw this question out there before we wrap up. Would you rather date the rich, crazy guy or the broke, mentally healthy guy? What would you pick? Rich and crazy, broke, mentally healthy.
Broke mentally healthy.
Broke mentally healthy.
Okay, so no matter how rich someone is, the craziest thing, that ain't good.
No,
Okay.
Crazy affects your livelihood.
no.
Gotcha. Okay.
No,
All right. Well, you were quick to respond on that. Everyone had different, reactions to the hot, broke guy, but the rich and crazy guy, you want no part of.
No part.
Okay. All right, well, that's it for me, bro. I'm rich and crazy over here. I got nothing else going on. Anyway, ladies, this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you guys being on here. I think this is what we're going to be doing from now on. Usually it's just Adam and our friend David, if he's still listening, on camera.
R.I.P. David.
R.I.P. David. But I really do appreciate you ladies being on. I appreciate the perspective. I think the audience appreciated the perspective. Let me turn it over to you ladies before I sign out. Give me your final thoughts on today's episode. Ladies first. Go ahead, Jenny.
Well, I love it. Thank you guys for having me. I didn't even know this was episode 18, but it's my episode 1, so.
This is like episode 18-1.
Yeah,
This is
season
episode
2.
1, season 2. That's
Season
exactly
2.
what this is.
I love it.
Season 2 of the Soscast, episode 1.
Yeah.
Jenny, so okay, go ahead.
So thank you for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity, and I hope that somebody out there listening to this was impacted in a good way of things we discussed.
Yeah, I think somebody out there just literally crashed and sold their Mini Cooper, and they're like, "Dude, what the hell was I thinking?"
And they're going and putting
Tabasco
Tabasco sauce.
Exactly.
And they're
Nancy, final thoughts on this?
Get help.
Everything.
Mental health is important. I would say,
Not just
save
mental
money,
health.
get help.
Save money, get help.
Yeah.
And pay your bills, bro.
Pay your bills.
All right, respect to you guys. This has been a very fun episode. Something tells me we're gonna have both these ladies back again if they're willing to come back. This has been amazing. We do this every Thursday live. Patrick Bet-David actually wants me to do this more often. We will see if schedule permits. But let us know in the comments what you valued the most from this episode. Let us know who your favorite was. Was it I only date rich dudes Jenny, or I only date broke dudes Nancy, or maybe it was me. Maybe you came for the Saz.
Ambitious Adam.
Ambitious Adam over here. But we do this live every Thursday. Tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your kids, tell everybody to tune into Valuetainment, Soscast every Thursday. We go live. Enjoy your weekend if you're watching this over the weekend. And remember, as always, no matter what, to save that money. We'll see you guys next time.